How's it going, everyone? It's Noir Tapes back with another video. Today I want to do a video breaking down some of the different ways you can use a drum loop in your beat. Obviously you've got the standard, just using the drum loop as it is, but there's a few things you can do such as pitching and warping to get it to fit better. My favorite way to do it is the second one, which is chopping it up, getting an individual kick, snare and hi-hat from a drum break and then playing it yourself. I think that's the way to do it. Gets the most human feel and you add your own flair to it. So those are the two I'm going to cover today. And let's get into it. So first I have this sample here, nothing crazy, just some old piano. It's from one of my vinyls up on my collection over there, so check it out. Just a little loop from a Sonata, I think, or something. So first I have the drum break here. This is one of the drum breaks from my free drum kit. Link in the description to my website. I finally finished the fucker, and you can go on my website under my drum kits. It's the only one there at the moment. I'm working on some more at the moment, but this one's free. It'll say $0, and basically you'll sign up with your email and make an account on my website. You'll get the drum kit. It's like 10 free breaks or something, maybe a few more than 10, I can't remember, but yeah, it's just a bunch of free drum breaks. You can use them however you want, but check it out. So the first method is really simple. You just play the drum break and the sample together. The way you can get more advanced with this, you can play around with the timing of the drum break with the pitch. You can also warp it and then play with the pitch, but that gives a bit of weird results sometimes. And the other method would be just to chop the drum break into sections and play the sections in different orders. I'm not going to do that today. I think just showing the drum break as an example is fine, but you get a similar sound when you chop it up. When you chop up a drum break and play it over a sample that's faster, your kicks and your snares are usually where you're chopping. So they'll be on time, and your hi-hats will get a nice swing if the drum break's slower than the sample. But aside from that, just playing the drum break or chopping up the drum break and playing different sections, very similar in that regard. The other method I like to do is chop up the drum break and take individual sounds. So I'm going to do that now from the top view. So as you can see, there's the drum break there. If I just hold this one. So first we could single in on the first kick, move that all the way there, wind it in. So we can take that one, call that kick. You can see here, there's a kick in between two hi-hats. I'll show you what I mean. So this is the ghost kick I was talking about. It's played off rhythm before a main note, and sometimes it's off between the hi-hats, which is good because you now know it doesn't have a hi-hat above it. So that's a pure kick. Those sorts of kicks, you just need to raise in volume a bit. You could save that kick and put it in your own drum kit because it's essentially the pure kick, right? There's no hi-hats above it. So if we zoom in a bit, we're just going to bring in the start right there and the end. Make sure you have zero snap on as well, that's important. So there you go, that's the kick by itself. There's no hi-hats playing above that. So that's great, we'll take that one. Kick 2. Next we're going to find a snare. With the snares, they almost always have hi-hats playing above them. Unfortunately, there's not much you can do about that, unless there's a few ghost snares, but you call them they're more like accent snares. But essentially, it's like you find them in trap a bit. You go or something like that. Those in between snares can sometimes be playing off beat from hi-hats, and you can find a natural snare, but it doesn't really happen too much in boom bap in these old school drum breaks. So I'm just going to wind in my end here. I like to keep the tail nice and long so I can adjust that with an envelope or something if I want to. And there's our snare. And lastly, we're going to find a hi-hat. Depending on the drum break and the age of it, if it's played by a live drummer, you might want to grab a few different hi-hats because they're live sounds and they will all sound a bit different. And also, some might have more vinyl noise on it or cassette noise, whatever. It's good to go through and pick a bunch of different hi-hats and pick one or a few that you like, and you can make your own pattern with them, whatever. In this one, I can tell you, I didn't record these live, so I'm just going to take the first one and I can adjust the volume with the 16 pads later anyways to make it sound a bit more live. So I'm just winding in here. This first one's great, it's all by itself. You could also take one of the ones just around the ghost notes, it doesn't really matter. Hi-hats generally stand out as long as they have room. So here's one here. So we'll take that. So then we come back on my main sequence here. Still got the drum break and the sample. I'm just going to go assign. And I'm going to put my kick, snare, and hi-hat along here. So kick. You can sort of see the difference between the two. You can totally hear the hi-hat on the first one. It's up to you whether you want to use that first hi-hat kick as your first kick and then use the other kick as the rest of the pattern or something. You can get creative. I'm just going to use kick 2 because I know it doesn't have a hi-hat playing on it. Snare and hi-hat. Beauty. So now we got a drum break happening. First thing I'm going to do is take that kick and bring up the volume. As I was saying, it's a ghost kick, so the volume's a bit lower. So let's go adjust the volume of that first. This is it here. We'll go process, go to gain, and maybe just give it 4 decibels. You can keep adding to it as long as it doesn't reach the top or that middle line there. So let's give it another 4. That's pretty close. And now it's sounding nice and fat. I'm going to come into my snare here. I'm just going to adjust the envelope to bring that in a bit. Same with the hi-hat. And so now we got our drums cut up. We can play them however we want. I'm going to lay down the sample in the pattern I want. And then I'm going to do the drums one by one, show you guys. So let's go. So I just laid down my sample, and now I'm going to record the hi-hats. First I select it, and then I'm going to go 16 levels. So that's done. Now we'll do the snare and the first kick of every 2 bars. Alright, that's sounding dope. Now I'm going to come through and do 16 levels with the kick. And I'm going to turn off quantize so it's natural. And so essentially I've turned my ghost kick from the original break into a ghost kick now in the new break, which is kind of weird to think about. Anyways, I'm taking up too much time here. But there you go. You know, use your drum break as it is. You can chop up your drum break and lay down different patterns by just switching out the chops. Or you can chop them up and use individual elements, which is what I love to do. This is also how you work on drum kits, because you take these old breaks and you chop up the individual sounds, and then you can create new breaks and do processing and stuff. That's all I have for you today. Hope you enjoyed the beat. I might turn this into a full beat and put it on my next beat tape. So why not? It matches that vibe. Don't forget to check out my website below. This is where everything's going to be now. My music is going to be on its own page. I'm going to have a photography page for my photography adventures. And I'm going to have a videography page for videos that I've been making and working on, you know, cinematic stuff. And you can get my drum kit for free there. And I'm going to upload more drum kits that are paid in the future. When you download the drum kit, you become a part of the email list. I'm going to send out group emails so everyone's on the same page. So, new music on the way. Thank you for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.